Hi everyone, welcome to our final day of our United States Marshals Museum virtual STEM camp. We are on day 5. We've made it all the way through the history of the Marshal Service, looking at technology available to them through different time periods. So today we are looking at the present day and we are looking at DNA. So DNA is something that is used across the board by law enforcement now, but it's relatively new in the scheme of things. It really has come into prominence over the last 20 years or so. The reason DNA is so important to law enforcement is because it's so unique to each one of us. We all have our own individual DNA. No two people's DNA is the same. And now we know how to get it and how to look at it. So it's become a very useful tool to law enforcement. It can't smudge, it can't be wiped off like fingerprints can. You leave your DNA all over the place all of the time without realizing. If you pull off a fingernail and throw it, if you sneeze into a Kleenex and throw it in the trash, you take a drink of from a glass, you pick your nose and rub it on something, then you have left your DNA behind. So we are going today to extract our own DNA. You have to have some big expensive equipment to really see the details of DNA, but what we're going to do today we'll show you some little strands of your own DNA. So you'll need a few supplies to do this. You need some salt water. So if you take a bottle of water, add a couple teaspoons of salt to it, mix that up really good. You need some dishwashing soap. Clear is best, but it's not absolutely necessary for it to be. And you need some alcohol. So you can see I have colored my alcohol blue. It makes it just a little easier to see the DNA, but again, not necessary. You need a little cup that you can put your stuff in, and you need some kind of stir. This is just a little coffee stir. And something to time with. I have my phone here to use my stopwatch. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your salt water. You're going to put a small amount in the bottom of a cup. Just a tiny amount. It doesn't take much. You're going to want to be able to hold it in your mouth. So you're going to take that salt water, put it in your mouth, and you want to swish it around really good. Really swish it around your mouth because you want that salt to scrape against the sides of your cheeks. You're going to do this for 1 minute. That's what you want to use your stopwatch for, or as close to 1 minute as you can get. Now, as you're swishing that salt water around your mouth, the salt is going to be scraping your cheek cells and your gums, and it's going to be collecting cells into the salt water. So when your minute's up, or as close to that as you can get, you want to spit that back into your cup. And this is my salt water that I have done and spit back into my cup. I know that's gross, but we want to see our DNA, right? So we got our salt water. Next, you're going to take your dishwashing soap, and you want to just put a drop or so in there. If you get a little more, it's okay, but just about a drop in there. And then take your little stir, whatever you're using, and just kind of mix it up. We don't want to create big bubbles. We just want to kind of move it around so that it will mix. Okay. And then our last thing we're going to do is take our alcohol. Now, the easiest way to do this, and ask an adult for help if you're not comfortable doing this yourself. You want to just kind of tilt your cup and pour your alcohol in. And it doesn't take much, just about the same amount of salt water that you had, so a small amount will do. Now, what's going to happen when you've got your alcohol in there is, I'll move this up so you can see, you'll see that your spit layer at the bottom, your clear layer, and your blue alcohol, or whatever color you make yours, start to separate. So you get a very clear layer at the bottom and the blue layer at the top. And you'll notice, as you watch, just let it sit for a minute. Leaving it still is the best, because that really allows it to do what it's doing. When you were swishing that salt around, I told you were collecting cells. When you added the soap, it caused those cells to break open and release what was in them. And now adding the alcohol is going to draw your DNA strands up to the top into the alcohol. So you'll start to see these little stringy looking things form in the alcohol. Get yourself a flashlight and use that. That makes it easier to see. You can hold your flashlight down to your cup. Again, I'll try to put this up here with my flashlight, and you can kind of see some of my little stringies and forming in there. That is our DNA, your DNA pulling together in the alcohol mixture. You can see that there. So that's pretty cool, huh? One way that we can see at least a little bit our own DNA. So, hope you guys thought that was cool. Get to see your own DNA. You can share that with your friends, share that with your siblings, and show them how to see their own DNA as well. Well, that concludes our virtual camp. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us each day for our activities. If you've enjoyed this, let us know. Leave us a comment. Give us some feedback as we're looking at programs for the future and the possibility of other virtual camps as well. Everyone have a wonderful day. Great to see you. Bye-bye.